All right, in this video we're going to be looking at the cosine function, but what I want you to do is use what we learned about in the previous video to set up the x-axis on your own. Remember, you're going to start with 2 pi down here to represent 1 full revolution. Find where pi would be, that would be halfway, and then just break it down just like we did in that previous video. Use your 2 triangles to find the marks on the x-axis, or on the y-axis for the different lengths. Don't forget the hypotenuse being the length of 1 unit. So I want you to set up the x-axis and the y-axis using what we just learned in the previous video. So let's see how you do. All right, so hopefully yours looks like mine. So you want to make sure that you have all of these values on the x-axis in radians, at least. I just did radians for this video. And the y-axis, again, make sure that you have those. Remember, these down here would be negative. All right, so let's look at what we're doing now. So on our unit circle, if we just focus on quadrant 1 right now, we are using the cosine function. Remember, the cosine is your x values. So these are the values that we're going to be graphing as we go around the circle. So let's start at 0 radians. Our x is 1. So the cosine of 0 radians is 1. So on our graph, if you want to do a line best you can that you can see here, we're going to do at 0 radians, we're going to go up to 1. And then at pi over 6 radians, the cosine of pi over 6, remember, is square root of 3 over 2. So at pi over 6, do your best without a straight edge. We're going to go up to square root of 3 over 2. And then at pi over 4 radians, so cosine of pi over 4, that's square root of 2 over 2. And then at pi over 3, it's 1/2. And then the cosine of pi over 2 radians is 0. So at pi over 2, we're going to put a dot there at 0. Now we're going to go to the left. Remember, to the left is 0. This is where the cosine or the x values are negative. So now we're going to flip below the x-axis to get negative 1/2, go down to negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 3 over 2, and then negative 1. So the cosine of 2 pi over 3 is at negative 1/2. Then the cosine of cosine of 3 pi over 4 is negative square root of 2 over 2. Estimate where that would be. And the cosine of 5 pi over 6 should be negative square root of 3 over 2. And the cosine of pi, remember, that's way over at negative 1. So the way that's going to look at here is we're going to go down to negative 1. Okay, so that's quadrant 2. Now let's look at quadrant 3. So again, cosine of pi is negative 1. That's where we left off at. So the next one, 7 pi over 6. The cosine of 7 pi over 6 is negative 1/2. 5 pi over 4 is negative square root of 2 over 2. 4 pi over 3 is negative square root of 3 over 3. And then cosine of 3 pi over 2 is 0. So let's continue that pattern. So 7 pi over 6, like we said, is at negative square root of 3 over 2, which is going to be down here approximately. And then cosine of 5 pi over 4, that's going to be the one in the middle, square root of 2 over 2. The cosine of 4 pi over 3, that's the short one, so it goes down to negative 1/2. And then the cosine of 3 pi over 2, that's at 0 again. Okay, now we're in quadrant 4. So in quadrant 4, so we left where the cosine of 3 pi over 2 is 0. So now we're going to go back up again. So the cosine of 5 pi over 3 is 1/2. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 3 over 2, and then back at 1 again. So let's go ahead and get that on here. So the cosine of 5 pi over 3, that's the short distance. So I'll go up to 1/2. 7 pi over 4, that's your medium distance. 11 pi over 6, see a long distance up to square root of 3 over 2. And at 2 pi, cosine of 2 pi is back at 1 again. So So there's your graph. And just like we did before, what we're going to do is we're going to take either the same color or a pen of a different color. It doesn't matter to me. We're going to trace the outside points there. And there you have it. That is a graph of the cosine function. So hopefully that makes sense as far as how the unit circle and the cosine function are created or are connected.